Laughing, hoping that I get signed. Now I own my own tracks, riding waves of the hypermind. Popular and dirt poor broke, that ain't my type of grind. If I got started.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries, where we're talking about AEW Fight for the Fallen, or AEW Dynamite. Age July 27th, 2022. In which there were some good ideas, yet very, very, very poor execution. But first, let's get into two notes, and I think you guys know what I'm about to talk about here. First, CM Punk's comments on WWE, then Tony Khan's comments on WWE, both of whom smack of absolute, again, AEW delusion. Let's get into CM Punk first. Somebody asked him a question about CM Punk, about Vince McMahon retiring. He says, I don't think the structure there, that's the word I'm looking for. I don't think the culture changes at all. It is what it is. I'll put it to you like this. Oh boy, people are going to be real effing mad about this, but F it. Mercedes and Trinity leave. They announce on SmackDown that, gosh darn, we are so disappointed in them. They really let our fans down. Brock splits, comes back, obviously. I think he worked the show. Where was Cole saying Brock Lesnar really let the fans down? I walked out, they went on TV and called me a quitter. What's changed? What's the difference? You're going to attack these two poor women who had enough and walked. They had bigger balls than everybody there. What's changed? There's nothing much that's changed. There's people that talk about it and people who do it. The people who lick the boots and have the audacity to say that about those two women. Effing cowards and bootlickers. This S is ridiculous. Why didn't they do it to Brock? They did it to me. It's none of my business. Well, he should have started with the ending, which is, it's none of my business. He could have saved himself all this trouble. You could just draw a line between all of this and just stopped with, it's none of my business. Here's the thing. He contradicted himself. For starters, Brock Lesnar actually worked the show. Sasha Banks and Naomi did not work the show. You did not work the show. Steve Austin did not work the show. Ultimate Warrior, when he got buried, he did not work the show. When you don't show up, this is what they do. They shit on you in public. You damage the brand, they damage your brand. Call it petty, but it's consistent. But let's continue along this line. Like, people are scared of Brock Lesnar. What's the worst that Brock could do except stay home, which is the same thing these girls are doing. But let's take it to the next level, because I'm just getting so agitated as people consistently talk to this guy about stuff that's going on in WWE. When you got stuff going on in his own company, where was CM Punk during the whole Big Swole incident? When Leo Rush actually went after the boss on Twitter, where was CM Punk? When Jonathan Gresham was going through all this stuff and he up and quit AEW, where was CM Punk? Where was CM Punk when Ivelisse got fired? Why he didn't stand up for Ivelisse? Why is he never talking about AEW? Why is nobody ever asking this guy, what about AEW? The place you actually work? You don't criticize them publicly. When Tony Khan does and says stupid things, all of a sudden, he's mum. He has nothing to say. He don't want to burn that bridge. He don't want to upset anybody. When it comes to WWE, though, he got all the smoke. He got such big brass balls at that point. Oh, please. Why didn't he say anything about his wife, who was there when they hired Tessa Blanchard, a supposed racist? He didn't say anything about Wow Women of Wrestling, who hired Tessa Blanchard. He didn't say nothing. What about the culture there, brother? What happened to all this stand up for your coworkers crap? I'm pretty sure Jonathan Gresham could use some backup right now. I'm sure Leo Rush could have used some backup. Instead, all the bootlickers turned on them, including the fans. And CM Punk sat there quietly collecting his millions and said nothing. So anybody, this is why I say I used to be a fan of CM Punk. Because he does a really good job of talking a good game. And if you get all hazel-eyed about it, and you look at this thing and you're still a fan, you're like, yeah, he's saying, it's like, no, he's not, because these two things are not the same. Brock, obviously, everybody knew Brock was coming back. Oh, if he even left in the first place. So, why would they bury Brock on TV if he's coming back? Especially if they knew he was coming back. If he even left. Why would you do that? Why would you compare the two instances when Brock clearly finished and did his job and the other people did not? How much of a mark do you have to be? And I'm using it derogatory. You have to be absolutely menstruating mark to think that these two things are similar or even the same. Just like, hey, it's not the same. What the Jonathan Gresham situation is not the same to what, Naomi and Sasha Banks and all them. But these are instances in which his boss disrespected talent and he did nothing. He went after Big Swole in public. Did nothing. He said nothing. When Leo Rush, young Leo Rush, this guy's not even 30. He put his balls on the table and he went after, he was collecting a check in AEW too. It could have been easy for him to just shut up and collect the check. He went after him. And guess what? He got released over it. CM Punk said nothing. Continues to say nothing. If you really buy into this crap, you a mark and a moron. CM Punk is a phony. He's been a phony for a really, really, really long time. But this is how he gets attention. And this is how he has been getting attention for the last 10, 12 years. His only attention is talk shit about WWE. That's it. Nothing else he does catches the same attention. He's been back on the roster for almost a year. Yet every time anybody's talking about him is when he's talking about WWE. In some form or fashion, whether it's in a promo or whether it's some backstage doodah or whatever. Nobody cares about this fucking guy. Like, I always say, be leery of people who are famous for being a complainer. That includes people who complain professionally. All right? Because they have no interest in seeing anything get better. They have no interest in giving any credit to anybody. Their business, their incentive is in complaining. They'll just find new complaints. Oh, first starter's Vince was the super devil. He was the worst person in the world. Well, now he's going, well, now we just have to find somebody else to complain about. We'll find something else to complain about. Oh, now it's the culture. It's the culture, the structure. It's like, how about you worry about the culture and the structure of AEW? How about that? How about you worry about the structure and the culture of young guys who are coming in and getting pushed to the side? How about that? Maybe you need to get to the bottom of why Jonathan Gresham wanted to quit. Figure that out. Then I may listen to your opinion on Vince McMahon. Speaking of which, Tony Khan. Some people they believe that him and Triple H are fairy godparents. That if you just rub their bellies and make a wish, they will make things appear for you. I don't think that's a good way to run a wrestling promotion. But then again, what do I know? I don't run a wrestling promotion. Anyway, a lot of people have been talking about Triple H bringing guys back since he now is in control of not only hiring and firing talent, but also head of creative. So now these guys say, hey, I was treated very well in NXT. It might be a good opportunity for me to go back. So Tony Khan decided he was going to have a response to this. He says, I'm a little amused at changes in the competition. People think it's going to be magically change the landscape. Some of these accounts, Twitter, can be a fun place to follow, but some of these narratives I've seen every day for the past week are really amusing to me. I've got people signed here for 5 years, And people think that that's just because the CEO and the chairman of Hammer Creative, those people have changed in the competition. People I have 5-year contracts with are going to magically switch teams. Good luck with that. Adam Cole is signed until 2027 now. I wouldn't expect to see him going anywhere anytime soon. Malachi Black has almost 5 years left on his deal. I wouldn't expect him going anywhere anytime soon. Just because these guys had some success under a previous administration somewhere else, they're not magically going to be going anywhere. Those are two people I like, just as examples of people who have worked under the previous administration. I'm amused by that. That's a narrative I see so-called wrestling writers pushing every day. It's pretty amusing. How quickly he tossed out that these guys are in some kind of record contract. Like, this is like some music business 5-year contracts. What is this, the NBA? Look, unless these guys are like, I know Undertaker signed a 15-year contract, but the dude is 50. He ain't going anywhere. I know when Bret Hart signed his 20-year contract, what was this, in 96 or 97 or something like that? He wasn't going anywhere. He had no plans to. Tony Khan is being very generous with this concept and being very presumptuous that AEW is still going to exist in 2027. Hell, it might be some crazy stuff where all this crap is on the network and Adam Cole is still under an AEW contract. But I found it to be hilarious that he even bothered to come out and address this. The fact that he even said very quickly, "Oh, I got these two guys locked up for 5-year deals. I got them locked up. They're not going anywhere." Like, I wonder what kind of contracts these are. I really want to know now. What's the money on these contracts? Now, here's the thing. I did a video, the NXT video, where I talked about some of the people that I thought were to come back. I didn't mention Adam Cole or Malachi Black for this very reason. They're signed to AEW. And at the time, I didn't know what the length of their contracts was. Now we know that it's at least 5 years. That they're shackled to AEW for the foreseeable future. Unless something happens in which these guys get fired. At the end of their contract, Malachi Black will be in his early 40s. Adam Cole will be in his late 30s. Neither one of them are even worth picking up at that point. Now, that's just me being fair. If you add 5 years to everybody on the roster, WWE has some really promising talent right now that won't even be 30 in 5 years. I'm talking guys that they've already started to push. Rhea Ripley, Theory, Braun Breaker. Won't even be 30 yet. Why would you waste your time getting into a bidding war with a 43-year-old Malachi Black? And unless he absolutely shatters all attendance records and whatever for AEW, he's not really worth it right now. Adam Cole, you had him for some of his prime years. We don't know if he's going to get any better. I would assume so. But at that point, these guys will be basically you bringing in Dolph Ziggler's at that point. You'll be bringing in guys to work mid-card work rate matches. These wouldn't be marquee, big-time names. So I appreciate that Tony Khan put it out there, that these guys are locked up for 5 years. So now we don't have to worry about them. Because Keith Lee is almost 40. If he gets locked up to a 5-year deal, let's say, then he'll be in his mid-40s. Not worth it. So that just tells me that these guys, some of these guys, it's their last run. Their last run at the top is right now. And it is what it is. But what also entertained me is how he tried to brush it off by giving us this really long paragraph. I find it very amusing. But these guys aren't going to up and go anywhere. Like, how do you know? Now, Adam Cole, sure. He's working with his friends and his fiance or whatever. They're working. Oh, fiance. Oh, Jesus. I'm sorry, his girlfriend. I had the wrong idea. I was thinking of what CM Punk was, again, not minding his own business and putting Adam Cole on blast when he asked Britt Baker, "When's he going to put a ring on that?" Like what? Like when did CM Punk all of a sudden become Britt Baker's mama? When did he become her auntie? Like what's going on here? When you gonna give me some grandkids? When you gonna give me some nieces and nephews? Like what the? What? Pardon me? Oh, so I got the wrong idea. His girlfriend. He's with people he already like. And I was saying this back when Adam Cole was in WWE. He would have been in there anyway. So no, I don't think Adam Cole is going anywhere. I truly don't. And I think Malachi Black will be too old by the time he gets out of this. He shakes out of this, I don't know, Suge Knight deal that he's locked. Is this thing written on a napkin? Like Tupac wrote a contract on it. Well, was it Tupac or was it Suge Knight that wrote a contract on a napkin? It's a Puff Daddy contract. It's like a Court Bauer contract. 5 years. What? That's crazy. What a crazy contract that is. Anyway, Tony Khan is a joke. He clearly hitting the panic button because he sees that there's some excitement on the other side. And look, there's no reason to be too excited. I mean, it's just fans being fans. When they get too excited, they exaggerate. We're going to talk about some people who was exaggerating over this Dynamite Fight for the Fallen show, because some people was really exaggerating during this thing. I heard this was one of the best shows they've ever done. And I was like, what? Again, it's a show with good ideas, but they didn't really flesh them out. So let's talk about the show, shall we? Jon Moxley defeated Rush with the Bulldog choke. This was actually a very good match. I'm a fan of Rush. Rush showed you that he has character and charisma in this match, as he was working the crowd, working the cameras too. When he did his tranquilo pose, he kind of missed the hard cam, but he corrected himself. He kept finding the camera to do stuff like stick his fingers into Moxley's wound because Moxley was bleeding, because Moxley bleeds in every single match now. It's just his gimmick. He bleeds in every match. There's no such thing as blood being special. He's Abdullah the Butcher. He bleeding everywhere, all the time now. It's nonsense. It's stupid. But Rush kept working the cameras. He looked strong, especially when he was standing on Moxley's, like when Moxley was on the bottom rope and he was standing on him, yelling at the crowd. It was good stuff. He didn't ignore the cameras. He didn't ignore the people. He worked the audience. Both of these guys buried German suplexes. I felt bad for German suplexes after this match. Andrade then came out to help Rush, but he got chased off by the Lucha Brothers. The straitjacket power driver spot by Rush was tremendous. What was even better was that Regal explained that in the Blackpool Combat Club, they train for this. That they train guys, if you're going to get dumped on your head, to turn it a little bit, to take some of the pressure off your neck. They explained how he was able to survive a straitjacket power driver. I like that. That was very good. What was not very good is Moxley hit his Death Rider, which is finished in Japan, and Rush just kicked out of it. So there that go. But Moxley wins. I'm a fan of Moxley. I'm a fan of Rush. But I'm going to be critical of Moxley. He doesn't need to bleed in every match. He just doesn't. This match did not need blood, and I don't think it really added much of anything to it. And this match going on first, it was what it was. It's unfortunate that Rush really doesn't cut good promos in English, but I mean, utilize subtitles. They've existed. Look, millions, hundreds of millions of people watch anime. In Japanese, they will read it. And I'm pretty sure an AEW fan watches him some manga. He watched some Dragon Ball or some Naruto or some One Piece or Naruto, if that's more your thing. They're used to promos with subtitles. Subtitle it, so these guys can get over, for Christ's sake. Jericho comes out there The skinny guy from 2.0 says AEW Galaxy appreciate us. Of course, they're parodying Roman Reigns. And I just say, like, Jericho has turned into a parody act. Like, that's his thing now. His gimmick is that he parodies everything WWE, which is a bizarre situation. And it's smart in some ways because he was smart enough to realize that the biggest heels in AEW is WWE. But when all of your content is just stuff that you're ripping off, how are you any different from like the fucking Blue World Order? Why should I take you seriously? You know, like, you guys are out here doing Blue World Order stuff. You know, it's so awkward. You know, it's very awkward for them to do this, but it is what it is. So Jericho runs down talking about how much of a role the Jericho Appreciation Society is on. And then he talked about Anna Jay a little bit. Anna Jay took the microphone, says that she took the opportunity. She is Anna J.A.S. She's the sexiest and the toughest. And that she's going to choke you out, and she can choke you out, and she can choke you out. And I didn't believe any of this. I don't believe none of this. I mean, if you're going to turn heel and try to talk tough, I can appreciate that they're trying to do something different with Anna Jay, but the tough angle doesn't work because her sleeper doesn't even look intimidating. It looks like shit. So we're stuck with Anna Jay. Anna Jay being a heel is fine. Jericho talked about beating Eddie Kingston, but then say he's going to beat Moxley. Then 2 years after the fact, he is demanding a rematch for the AEW World Championship at Quake at the Lake. Quake at the Lake. They have an event called Quake at the Lake, in which it will take place in Minneapolis. Quake at the Lake. Oh, God. Booker of the Year, right? All right, so Moxley then cuts a promo, and I actually enjoyed this promo. He said, take your interim and shove it up your ass. I'm the AEW World Champion, which I like. He then said he used to look up to Chris Jericho, but now he's doing all this stuff, the inner circle, the Jericho Appreciation Society. It's all pathetic. He's a magician. He's a wizard. He's a demo god. He's doing all these crazy gimmicks. He's the king of copyright or whatever he's calling himself these weeks. Then he said, this is not the Sports Entertainment Championship. This is for pro wrestling. Then he says that if you want to fight me, I want the Super J Cup Jericho. I don't want the wizard, the magician, or any of that crap. I want the Lionheart. I want the guy who I watched VSH tapes of. He said that anyone but the best need not apply. And I was totally into it. Totally into it. I get it. You know, once you understand that WWE is the heel, this kind of whole, this ain't sports entertainment, I'm tired of all this sports entertainment crap. That kind of stuff just kind of goes with it. But when he started talking about Jericho being pathetic and, you know, constantly smoking mirrors and not being Chris Jericho, I kind of felt that. Because we all wish Jericho could be the guy that he was before. Of course, he can never be that. Jericho was 25 when he was in ECW. You know, when he was 26 or something like that when he was in WCW. You know, he was a very, very young guy. He's twice that age now. You know? And I liked it. And when I saw the direction that Moxley was going in, I was hoping he was going to say, I want the Lionheart. Like, that's what I like. I like that. And I'm very interested in what that's going to look like in the modern day. Like, is Jericho going to do the thing where he lays against the barricade? Is he going to use some variation of that theme song? Or is it still just going to be Judas? Like, these are things that I think are realistic to me. Like, all the crap that he's coming up with now, like the demo god and the wizard, all that shit's stupid. But if you want to dip back into, you know, Y2J. You want to dip back into the Lionheart. Like that's becoming a little bit more popular these days because Edge has been doing it. Christian did it a little bit. The Hardy Boys. Everybody's dipping back into the nostalgia pool a little bit. If you're still around and you can still do it, go for it. It won't kill you. It's a temporary pop. It's good. Go for it. I'm 100% all in on Lionheart, Chris Jericho popping up on Dynamite. I'm cool with that. Quake at the Lake, I'm sorry. 100%. I'm good with that. Jericho, Moxley on TV, fine. AEW's trying to be a good TV partner. So, okie dokie. I don't have a problem with none of this. I like the promo. The promo was great. Well, not Jericho's promo. Not Anna Jay's promo, but Moxley's promo. That was very good. So, AEW has All Out in September, and they will be introducing Trios Championship. They're having more new titles. Every wrestling company nowadays is just introducing more new titles. I think WWE might be the only promotion that is slowly but surely getting rid of belts. Everybody else is just getting more belts. The NWA is about to have a women's television title. Why? What do you need a women's television title for? You barely do anything with the men's television title that you have. What do you need a women's television title for? Whatever. But now AEW is going to have a Trios Championship match. I mean, a Trios Championship, I'm sorry. Because, there's not enough people running around with belts. I mean, for Christ's sake, why not have an 8-man tag team championship so that more people can run around with belts? There's not enough belts on AEW. That's the problem. The problem ain't the storytelling. The problem ain't the shitty matches and the botches and the green talent who can't cut promos. No, none of that's the problem. The problem is there's not enough belts. There need to be more belts, y'all. You got to have more belts. Don't everybody understand? That's how a wrestling company works. You have to have more belts. For Christ, Jeepus Creepus. More belts. I don't care about these belts. I knew they were coming. They didn't do a good job of, I'm surprised they didn't build it up and say, Tony Khan's got an announcement, which, usually is their thing. Is Tony Khan has a special announcement and it's going to be Trios Championships. Fine. Trios titles, who cares? It's just something for the Young Bucks. Speaking of which, the Young Bucks talked about it later, about, they're not the tag team champions anymore, so they want to be the Trios champions. Adam Page wandered over, and they wished him a happy birthday. And then I think he said his birthday was yesterday, or it's tomorrow, or something like that. Then the Dark Order blew up the spot by talking about getting him a cake and all this kind of stuff. And the Young Bucks walked off all dejectedly. And I was like, ugh. Why do they think anybody cares about anything that they do? Like, bro, you guys started this show, thumbs up, whatever. But I promise you, nobody gives a fuck about the Young Bucks. You've had 3 years of Bullet Club soap opera. Enough. All right? They're friends. They're not friends. It's always the same fucking guys. I don't care. I promise you I don't care. I've been over the Bullet Club for at least 4 or 5 years. And I've never been more sick of the Bullet Club than I am within the last 2 years. All this elite, super elite, cowboy elite, all this garbage. I'm so sick of this shit. I've had it up to here with it. I've had it up to here. Do you hear? You understand me? All these fucking limp-wristed weirdos. I'm sick of them. This is not how men behave. This is how people behave. This is how girls behave in high school. This is not how men act. It's just, it sucks. It sucks hard and heavy. It's bad. This is terrible. Dante Martin tried to cut a promo. Jesus H. Christ. He said that Sammy Guevara can't hack it anymore. And he's been taking too many vacations. And he's going to have Sky Blue in his corner for their match tonight. And no matter what he said, I had to basically watch his promo again on Twitter because I was so distracted by that goddamn mustache. It's something about that mustache, man. I looked at that mustache. I just kept looking at it. I was just like, why is it there? Like, what is he doing? Like, who told him it was a good idea for him to be a really young man with this mustache? Why would you do that? Why would you do that to yourself? Did you lose a bet? Is this baby's first mustache, baby's first facial hair, so you don't feel like you have to cut it? You look weird. If you can grow a beard or a goatee, just do it. Mustache, no. I am thumbs down on mustaches. You know, I cannot, it's so weird. It's such a weird look, you know. Unless you want to have a big bushy mustache, like, you know, Blackjack Mulligan or something like that, just get rid of that thing. That paper thin shit that you got, Nah, he's like a French actor. Nah, I'm sorry. Sammy Guevara and Dante Martin, they had a match later in which Sammy Guevara won because, of course, he did. Dante Martin never wins. Sammy Guevara and Tay Conti beat up Dante Martin after the match. And Sky Blue just outside the ring the whole time and was watching like, maybe I should get in there and help him. It's like, okay, Tay Conti is kicking his ass. What did he bring you for? What did he bring you for? So she finally gets in the ring to help. And then she's immediately attacked from behind by Anna Jay. Then Ruby Soho ran to the ring to run off Anna Jay, Sammy, and Ortiz was with her too. So I don't want to misrepresent it like she scared off Sammy Guevara and all these guys by herself. Ortiz was with her, so she had some male backup who was kind of tough. I didn't care about this at all. I saw some people talk about this was very odd. What was it? Bodyslam.net. These two guys they do things that defy logic, and people complain about it. I was just looking at that, and I said to myself, these guys do things that defy logic, and people complain about it. It's like, what if those people like logic in their wrestling, and you're defying logic? Then they would complain about it. Why would you tell me that they do things that are completely illogical, and then put it to me in a way that it's supposed to be a positive thing? Like, sure, there's some things that are illogical in wrestling. Fireballs, for instance. Killer clowns. Giants. Men who could control fire and lightning. And then there are guys who are seemingly made of rubber who could fall all over the place, jump all over the place, and never actually be hurt. I mean, it is what it is. But people are gonna call out things that they don't like, so you just got to get over it. I didn't care about this match at all. I probably watched a grand total of 2 or 3 minutes of it. I'm not into Sammy Guevara. I'm sorry. I don't care about his act, him or Dante Martin. I mean, they're basically the same guy to me. You know, if you had to explain Dante Martin to an audience, and you had to explain Sammy Guevara to an audience, what will be the differences? Well, Sammy Guevara is a little bit older, a lot more Latino. That's it. You know, that's about it. Oh, he's a guy who could do such death-defying jumps, and he does all these crazy flips and dives, and he's a daredevil. It's like, that explains 90% of this fucking roster. What makes either one of these guys different? So, well, Sammy Guevara thinks he's Edge. I forgot about that. He's some kind of Wish, Edge, and Lita with him and Tay Conti, who's trying to be a bitch, but nobody can understand anything she's saying. So it is what it is. Let's move on to something that was actually important. Ricky Starks defeats Danhausen, but ends up losing the FTW title to Hook. So let's talk about this. So Danhausen comes out there. There's a vignette for Ricky Starks. It says, "What makes a champion? Is it the respect on his name? Is it the commas in his bank account? Is it the foes that he's vanquished?" I'm like, what? And they explain what a champion is, and Ricky Starks is a champion, and he's absolute. And I like the turtleneck with the gold chain. I like that. It's jocking the Rock, obviously, but I like it. I don't mind that Ricky Starks is like a Wish version of the Rock. He's very charismatic on his own. He doesn't need to just be the Rock. He just kind of looks like him a little bit. And he takes some mannerisms from him, but that's about it. So Ricky Starks comes out there. He beats Danhausen in short order. quick, fast, and in a hurry. I think Danhausen gets like 2 or 3 offensive moves, but that's it. He basically got squashed. Then Ricky Starks get on the microphone and says, for real this time, I want another challenger. Bring out another challenger. Hook answers the challenge. Hook comes down to the ring. Taz is on commentary. And Taz is like, oh yeah, Hook. Oh, my son. Oh yeah. Ricky Starks, when they was in Team Taz, was one of his trainers. So he knows all of Hook's moves. And I'm like, wait a minute. I thought, okay, naturally, they're about to throw one of their very few disqualifications at us. You know, Ricky Starks is going to back out of this match. He's going to roll out of the ring. You know, they're not going to waste what could be a potentially strong storyline that could get both Ricky Starks and Hook over. They're not going to waste that by having a clean finish right here, right now. And they're certainly not going to beat Hook. So they're not going to waste this. I'm thinking Tony Khan at least is smarter than that. I was wrong. Within short order. And I like the finish, by the way. You know, Ricky Starks hits the spear. He goes for the Rochambeau. Hook counters it, puts him in the red run. Ricky Starks taps out. I honestly like that finish. You know? So Hook is now the FTW champion. And I'm just thinking, some of the people in the crowd are cheering. Some people are happy about it because it's a surprise. They didn't see this coming. Taz is okay. He's on commentary. Whoa, that's so great. My son, yeah, it's so good. I'm like, are you serious? Like, this is a TV show, right? TV shows is built on drama. Wrestling is a drama. It's a drama. I'm about to go into my Raven mode. It's a drama. There's action in it. There could be love stories in it, but it is a drama. Wrestling is all about drama. You mean to tell me that you have Hook, Ricky Starks, and Taz all involved with this at one time, and there is at no point did Taz get up and say, wait, I don't want this. I don't want you two guys fighting. I don't want this. No, stop it. And then you drag it out. Hook wants to be the FTW champion, but he won't say why. Ricky Starks is like, I don't care about having to fight Hook, but Taz is like, no, you cannot fight him. I'm not going to let it happen. You're my prize student. That's my son. I don't want you guys fighting. And then Hook, maybe 2-3 weeks later, is like, Dad, you were the FTW champion. I want to be the FTW champion too. I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing it for you. And now Taz wants to see his son become the FTW champion. So now he's pushing Ricky Starks to do it. And now Ricky Starks is like, wait a minute. Well, everybody's against me now? You know, or something with some drama to it. Something that builds this matchup to make these two young guys feel special. To make it feel like it matters. But no. They threw it away. Hook wins for the pop, one night pop. That's all. So now he has a useless fucking belt. That's not even really a recognized title. That his father created. That we didn't tell the audience that his father created. And didn't drill it into their minds how important this was to his dad. This is important to Taz. This was the point of the title being introduced. Is that it was important to Taz. It's important to Taz's legacy. This is Hook wanting a piece of Taz's legacy for himself. This is Taz watching his son, gather another piece of that legacy and carry it forward. There should have been fucking tears in the audience at the end of this story when Hook finally put that worthless fucking belt in the air. You should have added meaning to it. You should have said, I don't care if it's not recognized by AEW. It's recognized by me. This was created by my dad. This means something to him. It means something to me. Instead, they threw it away. They blew it. They didn't give a fuck. They didn't give enough of a fuck. This pissed me off. Because wrestling is about fucking stories. And you threw a fucking really good story away. You torched it. You can't get this back. It's over. So, after the match, Hook and Ricky Starks fist bump. I thought that was actually quite nice, showing that it was general competition, no real heat between the two. Of course, you want heat between the two, right? Come on. We go to commercial, we come back. Ricky Starks is in the ring still. And he's talking about the FTW Championship. He says he's no stranger to losing. And he accepts his loss. But he wants everybody to recognize that he was given that FTW title when everybody thought it was a noose. And he made it into a tie. And that he's tired of hearing about being impatient because his time was last month. It was last year. His time is now. And he's not going to sit back and wait anymore. Very passionate promo. Awesome promo right here. And then Powerhouse Hobbs attacked him from behind. And I said, no, you fucking didn't. No, you did not. You just threw away 2 big storylines back to fucking back. Instead of turning Hobbs babyface with Ricky Starks, turning Ricky Starks to a babyface is good. That's the smart thing to do. That's a thumbs up. That was great. You still could have done the fist bump. You know, he has no ill will towards Hook. Whatever. He knows Hook. He respects him. Yada, yada, yada. They could have done all of that shit. And just dragged it out a couple of more weeks. Same thing here. There's a, maybe Ricky Starks has lost his edge a little bit. He's showing too much respect to his opponents. He's being a nice guy. He's getting a little soft. And now Hobbs wants to just break some for that very reason. You're getting soft, man. Now he attacked him from behind and we're left with the big question mark over our head. Like, why did he do this? What did he do this for? They just hot-shotting. I know that word gets thrown around a lot. But that's what this was. They figured we don't know how to turn Ricky Starks babyface. It's like, how about letting this promo sit? Let him cut this promo. Let him mean it. Let him go from this point forward with this mentality. He's going to show up every week to kick ass, cut badass promos, win matches. And then Powerhouse Hobbs maybe gets a little bit jealous. Maybe he says, maybe it's my time now. Maybe it's not your time, Ricky. How about maybe it's my time now? There's 100 different angles you could have gone with over this. Because again, generally speaking, Hobbs turning on Starks, great idea. Fine idea. Would have preferred for them to become the tag team champions first. But okay, whatever. You're going to turn them? Turn them. Fine. But why do it so soon? Why do it so soon? Why waste what could have been built up for weeks and you could have built some anticipation? You could have did some swerves. You could have added the whole, built upon the concept of him losing the FTW title and maybe Ricky Starks doesn't want to be a member of Team Taz anymore or whatever. Maybe he's going to undergo some kind of personal journey, some kind of personal change that Powerhouse Hobbs doesn't feel like he's part of or feels like that he doesn't want to be a part of. That's the way you do things, man. That's the way you tell stories. Again, I like to use this analogy for people. Imagine you saved the princess on Donkey Kong by winning one level. You play one level, you saved the princess, game over. Okay, great, you did it. You got your instant gratification. The game got your quarter, but the reason they want you to keep putting quarters in, but there's no reason for you to play a second quarter. There's no reason for it to continue. Now, in this instance, they've done so much of it that a little bit of a cliffhanger with Hobbs and Starks may get some people to watch it next week and say, okay, I want an explanation. But if the explanation isn't up to snuff, people are going to bail out on it. They're going to feel like it was a waste of time. Instead, slowly but surely, show people how Hobbs is maybe not down with this new Ricky Starks. Maybe he ain't down with all this, what Ricky Starks is trying to do here. Maybe Ricky Starks is trying to put him in bad situations or whatever. Maybe he's showing too much respect. Maybe he's respecting the wrong people. Like maybe he's disrespecting the wrong people. it's just so many different ways you could have done it. It was so many good ideas right here with Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks is a tremendous talent. Hobbs, tremendous talent. Hook is a good young guy. He's coming along. But AEW, to say that they need a developmental system is an understatement. I don't care if Dark is developmental. What are they developing? It ain't characters and personas and storylines. They're just having fucking matches. I haven't seen anybody go through AEW Dark and come out of it a better promo or with a better character. All of them just come out with more wins on that stupid win-loss record, and that's it. This is garbage. Absolute garbage. And I like Ricky Starks, and it's garbage. Moving on. The Acclaimed. They're going to have a music video. Who gives a shit? Daniel Garcia questions where Bryan Danielson has been. Says, have you been getting sharper and have you been getting better? Because I've been getting sharper. I've been getting better. Says that he's going to send him back on vacation to his family. It's going to hurt him tonight. And I was like, okay, can't wait to see that. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So we get the match, Daniel Garcia versus Bryan Danielson. And let's see. Bryan Danielson does a drop kick from the top rope. And in doing so, of course, he bangs his head off the mat. Danielson very, very intelligently just lays there. He sells it. He sells that, that top rope drop kick took it out of him. Daniel Garcia from that point forward starts to take over. This is where we start building the heat. Bryan Danielson is selling the concussions. He's selling the head injuries throughout the rest of the match. Great storytelling. No surprise that a guy who spent 10 years in WWE is utilizing this sort of storytelling. Everybody knows that Bryan Danielson has a history of concussions. Therefore, we're just going to use that in the angle. Makes perfect sense. Makes Daniel Garcia look like a credible contender because all he has to do is not fuck up. That's all he has to do. Danielson has hurt Danielson. Danielson took himself out of the match with the top rope drop kick. All Daniel Garcia has to do is not fuck up. So, in doing this, there is some of that classic Danielson comeback where he jumps over the top rope and some of that stuff. They're doing some really interesting chop spots where I think Daniel Garcia missed some strikes and then Danielson was able to retaliate. Then we get the spot outside the ring where a hand reaches up, grabs Danielson by the ankle as he's trying to take advantage of Daniel Garcia. He then hits a pile driver on Bryan Danielson. And we were just told earlier that the Blackpool Combat Club are prepared for pile drivers. We were told that, right? From that pile driver, Daniel Garcia goes into the sharpshooter. Danielson doesn't tap out, but he passes out. Referee stoppage. Daniel Garcia wins. And I wasn't angry that Daniel Garcia won. I just didn't care that he won. It was like most people, I just didn't care. And then when I saw that the hand was Jake Hager, I really didn't care. I was just kind of like, okay, whatever. You could do whatever you want. You could put the fucking belt on him if you want to. It's not going to make people care about him. Nothing about Daniel Garcia is an absolute, he's not even a charisma vacuum. He's not even a charisma black hole. He's a charisma exoplanet. He has the charisma of the Kuiper belt. All right? He just has no charisma. He has negative charisma. It's insane the stuff that they're doing with the wrong fucking talent. You've got guys like Ricky Starks losing to Hook. And you got Daniel Garcia beating Bryan Danielson. I mean, that's just fucking offensive. It's a slap in the face. Look at the people that they're not pushing. Look at the people that they're jobbing out. And Daniel Garcia gets to beat Bryan Danielson. That makes no sense. I'm sorry to tell you, and I know that, Daniel Garcia is very well liked by, the wrestling media, the wrestling journalist class. They really do like him. Hate to break it to you, the viewer, the listener rather, and all of those people. I doubt Daniel Garcia makes you any money in the wrestling business. I sincerely doubt it. I'll be glad to be wrong if I'm wrong, but I don't think he'll ever make you a dime. Why not look for the people who have fucking charisma? You only do damage to Danielson by doing this. You know, they've already done tremendous amounts of damage to Danielson already. Danielson couldn't beat Kenny Omega. He couldn't beat Hangman Page. You know, now he lost the Jericho Appreciation Society match. Now he lost this match too. It is what it is. I'm not furious about it. I'm just kind of numb to it. They did a decent job of telling the story, so you can explain how he lost. That it's Danielson's fault that he, you know, took himself out of the match with the top rope drop kick. If he hadn't done that, maybe he'd have been able to beat Daniel Garcia a little sooner, or, you know, or be less woozy. But I was more floored by this than anything. I was just kind of like, wow, again, hot shotting. You know, we're just going to do it because we can, because, you know, wrestling ain't real, so we can do this, right? Whatever. Daniel Garcia, boy, he has a librarian's charisma. Jesus Christ. He has the charisma of sewage. The guy has a promo ability of a scared foreign exchange student. Why in the world would that guy ever beat Bryan Danielson? Why would you ever do that? Who signed off? Well, I can understand why Danielson did it. He doesn't give a fuck. He's 40 years old. He's a multi-millionaire. He main evented WrestleMania. He doesn't care about this shit. This doesn't mean anything to him. This is fun. He gets to go out there and do fun shit. But if you think anybody's going to give a shit about Daniel Garcia all of a sudden, no. No, you're not. Nobody's going to care about this fucking guy. Sad to say, but nobody's going to care about Daniel Garcia. They've been exposing him a lot, and he still hasn't caught on. So it's not going to work out, you know. Compare and contrast to what WWE is doing with their young guys. All right, so Sanjay Dutt, the most useless man in wrestling, and Jay Lethal, they talked about losing to Samoa Joe. They kind of brushed that under the rug. Jay Lethal said that he cheated with an illegal choke, but then he started talking about they got unfinished business with their best friends, and he called them clowns. And this led to a trios challenge match at Fight for the Fallen on fucking Rampage. I was like, ugh. Jungle Boy comes out there. He's out there with Luchasaurus. He says that Christian Cage is the biggest pussy he's ever met. And he said, congratulations on being the most relevant you've ever been. Then said that you were upset about me throwing you out of that battle royal because you needed the money. He said, oh yeah, you needed that money because your wife divorced your bitch ass. Then he said that Christian Cage needed protection but forgot that his monster is my best friend. And then he was protecting you for me so that nobody can get their hands on Christian Cage before I do. Then he starts talking about how 3 years ago he was standing in an empty hole with his Uncle Dave as they were digging his father's grave or something like that. And Christian Cage is on the screen talking over it. Like, Jungle Boy is still talking. And Christian is like, hey, Jungle Boy, hey, Jungle Boy, hey, Jungle Boy, hey, Jungle Boy. Just talking over him, and Christian is just clearly still talking. So Christian explains that Luchasaurus made a big mistake that in his future was main events and gold, but he chose to hang around with Jungle Boy. Then he says that he ran away last week not because he was scared of Jungle Boy, but because he was scared of what he would do to Jungle Boy. And the next time he run across him, he's going to run across him with a body bag. Then he says, you're not going to feel so bad for your daddy. You're going to cozy up to him. Then he says, I still have the advantage because you told me all of your secrets. And I was like, okay, you know, not awful. Jungle Boy actually shows some real emotion here. I don't like the explanation of why Luchasaurus was teaming up with Christian in those couple of weeks. It was weak. They just didn't have the balls to break up Jurassic Express. That's all it is. So now they're going to have to get Christian a new Tomko. It's probably going to be Lance Archer or some other big useless sack of shit. But it is what it is. I actually like Jungle Boy's promo. Like I said, it took legitimate fire. The cursing, I mean, it was what it was. It added to the promo. Him saying that Christian is more relevant than he's ever been is a lie. Of course, Christian was more relevant in 2000. That was 22 years ago, though. Saying that Christian needed the money because he just got a divorce was good, you know. If I don't know if it's true or not, but it's a good line because it would explain why a guy like Christian will all of a sudden care so much about money, you know. Because, you know, he's a divorcee. He doesn't have any money. You know, half got taken away from him. And that would actually add a lot to his heel character. If he's a guy who's been fucked over by the court system and now he can't see his kids and everything, and maybe he saw Jungle Boy as one of his sons or something like that. And, you know, there's just ways you can add to it. You know, that could have been very nice. So, I didn't hate this. Jungle Boy still isn't a great promo, but this was one of the better promos he's ever done. He's done a good job. Actually shows some improvement. I'm impressed. All right, Smart Mark Sterling and Tony Nese were defeated by Swerve Strickland. I yawned. I think I yawned through the entire match. My eyes got watery and red. I drank some water. I did a bunch of shit during this match and didn't watch it. Josh the Goods Woods, who is a tremendous talent, attacked Keith Lee from behind to keep him from coming out and helping Swerve, even though Swerve won the handicap match by himself. Then Swerve got jumped by Tony Nese and Mark Sterling, and I said, this is a waste of everybody's time. This is a waste of Josh Woods' time to be teamed up with Mark Sterling. Now, him teamed up with Tony Nese, okay, I can at least respect that. But anything they got to do with Mark Sterling is shit. Just right out of the gate. It's shit and shit adjacent before we even really get into, you know, the context of the thing. It's just garbage. Smart Mark Sterling is absolute garbage. He shouldn't be there. Josh Woods is a guy I was hoping AEW would sign. They finally did sign him. So kudos to them for being smart. But I guess the tag division, and that's just what they're doing. They're signing guys and putting them in the tag division. So there that go. I don't know. Why are these two guys being rushed to the front of the line when obviously again FTR are the number one contenders? I guess you have to take that up with whoever the boss is. It's not like the boss was ever called Booker of the Year or anything like that. That kind of stuff never happens. Malachi Black cut a promo on Miro by saying that God and the devil are the same thing. And that he tries to just balance out the uneven. And then said that you spent your life worshiping the throne. I want you to sit on it. And so everyone will kneel to you. So Malachi Black is trying to recruit Miro, while Miro is trying to destroy Malachi Black. That's interesting. Very, very interesting. Brody King instead just challenges Darby Allin to a coffin match and says that he beats up Darby Allin in public because he can. And I was like, real menacing, dog. Real tough guy shit, I guess. Brody King is such a waste. But this Malachi Black Miro stuff is actually interesting. It's a good way of prolonging the match. You know, instead of Malachi Black being offended and just saying, bring it, I'll fight you. He's like, wait a minute, we're probably better off being friends. You know, you're angry at God. I don't really believe in God. You know, if you truly believe in a higher power, why don't you just be the higher power? I like that. You know, it's interesting. You know, it's an interesting angle, and it gives opportunity for Miro to respond. You know, he threw the olive branch out there. You know, join us. Don't fight us. Join us. Sit upon the throne yourself, Miro. You know, redeem yourself. How about that, brother? And now Miro's going to have to come up with a reason why it wouldn't be, why it can't be that way. Ought to be very interesting. I like that. Check. One good check for Malachi Black. A negative check for Panda King. I'm sorry, Brody King. Who cares? Thunder Rosa versus Miyu Yamashita. A match that literally happened. because this girl beat Thunder Rosa before. People claimed that Yamashita was facing all kinds of racism and that there's racism against Joshi Puroresu in the United States. I think mostly it's just people don't understand why these Japanese girls are special because they can't tell them apart. What's so different between Miyu Yamashita and Riho? Or Miyu Yamashita and Maki Ito? Well, Maki Ito does the singing gimmick. At least that makes her different. She stands out. She's a comedy character. But when you don't tell anybody who these people are, they just pop up on the screen as number one contenders because they're Japanese. And you're giving them special privileges because they're Japanese. Yeah, guess what? People are going to start saying, what is this horseshit with you and these Japanese girls? Like, why do they get special privileges? Why is it that the other girls are winning matches and getting bumped from the show, like Chris Statlander, or not being on the show at all, even though they're hot free agents like Athena? And yet, Miyu Yamashita, sight unseen, comes to the United States and is the number one contender. Where do they do that at? Instead of answering that question, we just get, well, you must be a racist against the Joshi Puroresu. Shut up. All right, this is a stupid show. It's usually stupid. It was especially stupid today because they had good ideas and they shat all over them and wasted them. So it's disappointing, to say the least. But let me know what you guys think. Like, share, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later, man. Peace out.
MongoSlade. Best house I ever drew, Daddy.